And this. Okay. Here we go. We are live once again. And we are live in 3 different places today.
Why not?
We keep
Triple
adding.
threat.
We keep adding. Yeah. So we have YouTube over here. That's our home. And then we have Facebook. And we added Amazon because why not? We're talking about the product. So
Right.
we can demonstrate those products for you. We are here for another episode of Astrologic. This is, my name is Ellie Shoja. I'm one of the founders of Peace Unleashed. And with me, I have Susie Roberts. She's an astrologically guided life coach, and she basically knows a lot about astrology, and she knows a lot about human and what it takes to succeed in life. So she brings those two together, and she uses astrology to kind of like help guide life.
Right.
And a few months ago, I asked you, Susie, why don't you come on and we'll share some of your knowledge with the world. We have, let me show you guys. We have the chart for this month's full moon, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to see what this full moon is all about,
Right.
and how you can prepare yourself for the full moon. And as a kind of a bonus, because Peace Unleashed, we publish, this deck over here, which is Your Heart Knows the Way Oracle card deck. As a bonus, we'll also do some card readings for this full moon. So it'll be a lot of fun, lots of guidance, lots of great information, setting you up for success during this full moon.
Right.
Yes.
And we can talk about what transpired between the new moon,
Mhm.
which
Yes.
starts off the cycle, which
Yeah.
was in Pisces. So it was all about creativity and getting sort of out in awareness, right? And
Yeah.
just sort of being ethereal and thinking sort of right brain versus left brain, linear thinking, right brain, right outside the box,
Yeah.
just very creative and very emotional. And it was a very emotional transition. This time has been very emotional the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've been seeing it around myself. I'm curious, and if you are live with us, you can ask any questions that come up for you. If there's anything specific that's coming up for you, please ask it in the comments. We'll check in every once in a while and try to answer all of your questions while we are here. But I have a question for you guys. Have you noticed that emotional thing that we talked about last time around? Because I have noticed it in my life. There have been a lot of emotions. There's been a lot of creativity, and there has been a lot of just like ideas. I feel like being born, but almost like a chaos of ideas.
There was a lot. And I
Yes.
think, and also if you're thinking, well, but I didn't feel any creativity and I don't know what they're talking about and I wasn't really emotional, but maybe things were coming up,
Mhm.
right? Coming up for you that were long buried,
Yeah.
that were just sort of below
Mhm.
below the surface, or relationship issues, and things were just sort of coming to the surface to then be transmuted and just let out and finally solved once and for all, dealt with. Because,
Yeah.
things that are just sitting there gnaw at us,
Mhm.
right? And we might as well just acknowledge it, put a name to it, and that's the power of it then is diminished tremendously. And then it's what we do with it. So when we go from a life coaching sort of position to
Yeah.
bringing in astrology, we can understand that the people around us can be going through the same things, right?
Yeah.
And so we can be communicating with people and just having a very emotional conversation,
Yeah.
and not understanding why it's so emotional, right? Why am I feeling this so deeply? Or
Mhm.
why am I so passionate about something? And it was the timing. And this was a particularly, I felt for me, a very turbulent time.
Yeah.
Not in a necessarily negative way, but stuff was coming up, and what do I do with it? And how do I get, move it out? And sometimes you just have to sit in it and understand it and recognize it. So we set an intention at the beginning,
Mhm.
right, for what we were going to do during this time. So where are we now, right? So where are you from the intention that you set at the new moon to now it's coming to fruition and blossoming with the full moon on the 28th. So, and that's going to be in Libra. So we are.
What does that mean? Full moon in Libra.
So the full moon, the moon will become full in the sign of Libra.
Okay.
And Libra is an air sign. And Libra is very balanced, and Libra is a little bit more left brain, right? Versus where we started off with the right brain. And it's it can be a little bit more linear. Look it's the balance, right? Libra, the scales. So you balance, they do a lot of balancing and a lot of judging, and not in a judgy way, but you sort of look at everything and you sit there.
They're constantly gauging, everything. I have a few Libras. This house was designed by a Libra, and it's like everything has to be in twos, everything has to be balanced, everything's really organized, nothing ever can be off in a way, right? Very symmetrical design sense, but also there's a sense of fairness, I feel like, with Libras too.
They don't want to offend anybody, so they will go out of their way at times to be so cognizant of what's going on that they sort of balance what they're going to say, and they balance them. I just don't want to be off-putting to anybody. I don't want to upset anybody. But they also at times then don't stand in for what they want to do, right? They're just acquiescing a lot. And that can be a challenge, to acquiesce a lot, right?
So when
you don't want to stir trouble.
When the full moon is then in Libra, are those kind of qualities kind of present for everybody?
Well, those qualities are particular to Libras, right? However, when we're looking at the moon and we look at what Libra represents, balance, relationships, work, any one-on-one relationship, marriage, or work, business, those are all contracts. It's a contract sign, right? So anything that's a contract can then come to full bore right there in front of you, right? Be highlighted, be suddenly very important. It wasn't so important before, or relationship challenges or things that are coming up, and everything's just sort of coming out. Okay, right? Because we're in Libra. So it's all focusing on that house, which is the house of relationships in all aspects of your life. And so when people are around us, we're seeing that, in businesses, things are coming to fruition. They're looking at things, and you're looking deeply, and you're looking at more. It's all about balance. I like to say that Libras, and it's not a criticism, but it can slow you down. Libras will, most of us will measure twice, cut once, right? Libras, I had a Libra in my life who I would say you measure like 50 times and then you might cut. Because they're so worried about balancing things and making sure that everything's equal and that it's okay, that they sometimes lose an opportunity, right? You miss an opportunity, or you just get paralyzed by that constant balancing of things.
Yeah.
Right?
You said something about like relationships. The relationships are so important right now. Does that mean things that we haven't dealt with in our current relationships, are they going to come up for us to deal with? Or if there is imbalance in relationships, is this the time for us to work through that?
Well, it could be with work, opportunities, right?
Okay.
There are opportunities in those areas that come forward, that are more expansive, that suddenly you weren't thinking about it and now you're thinking about it, right? Or a business decides that, it's going suddenly, or the one who runs a business, owns a business, suddenly decides, I want to expand, or I really am starting to think about where this is going to go and what are we going to do? This would be the time that those feelings might come up, right? More so than others. And it's just because the full moon just brings everything to surface, right? It shifts the gravitational pull, right?
So what are some things to look out for during this time for all of us? What are some things that might be coming up that are related to the full moon that we should kind of be weary of?
Well, there's nothing negative about a full moon, right? It's certainly, it's that time of, of expansion and so the moon rules our emotions first and foremost.
Yeah.
So that's why these things may start feeling more present and more deeply. And especially if you're a Libra or if you're another air sign. So you may be feeling those more because of that, but you can take it and grow it and take it and, okay, all right, that's bringing it up. What can I do with it now? These are energies to deal with it, right? To acknowledge it, to then take it forward. It's brought up. It's like, okay, now. So if it's a relationship and there are things that they just may start surfacing.
Okay.
Right? So deal with them. It's an opportunity to let them go. right?
Okay.
And because you're going to be feeling things more that maybe didn't bother me, now something is bothering me, or something with my business is, I suddenly need to go do this with the business. It's just bringing those up and forward, right? Up and out. So that's really what that is about.
Yeah.
Right.
For me, I feel like if there is something that comes up, there might be the danger of getting stuck in it. Like if an imbalance is brought up to the surface, or if there's like, maybe I all of a sudden realize that I've been doing something completely wrong in my business and I want to go in a new direction. Is there a danger of getting stuck in it? I feel like with some signs, there's a danger of that. Or is Libra a little bit more forgiving in a way, like allowing you to move through? I can imagine like air allowing you to like move through more fluidly.
Well, Libra is ruled by Venus.
Okay.
Love and money, right? Taurus, love and money, and so is Libra, love and money. More so, they're both love of money, love of relationships, love of things, love of what we're doing in Libra. So I don't know that there's a tendency to potentially get stuck in it. It's just that it's forward. It's just there. And that with a Libra and with this moon in particular, you don't want to sit there and look at it and balance it and research for so long that you get stuck. Right.
Okay.
And that's the thing. It's now's an opportunity. It's going to be so present. So now's the time to go, okay, I'm feeling this. Now I'm just going to do something about it.
Yeah.
We
take action.
Well, yeah. I mean, because it's right there, right? Like it's being brought up for a reason, right? Otherwise it's usually under the surface. And then we have these transits with the other planets, right? That go all around. And at times they bring things up for us. Right. When it's a full moon, it just really brings things up. And because it's your emotions, you're just feeling it more.
Okay.
Right? That's really what it's all about.
What are some things during this full moon that can help us in our own lives? Like, what are some of the energies or some emotions or some things that we can hook into that can help, like, propel us forward?
Well, I think if we recognize the first and foremost is awareness and awareness of what you're feeling. Right. And that you're not, you're not, that it's being caused or it's being brought to service, not because there's anything wrong, that you're thinking of things, that you're upset. It's the energies and understanding that some things are completely out of our control. Yeah. Like you could be going around all of a sudden, you're like, darn, I am so emotional about this right now. Right. Or I'm so stressed about something right now. And it's not necessarily that you're stressed or upset about something for no reason, right? You have to stop and go, gosh, like, where are the planets right now? Oh, okay, I can breathe, right? It's not like I'm not going crazy, or it's like not suddenly this is just hitting me. Why? Like, did somebody do something to me? Did I think about something? Like, what was it? Sometimes it's the energies, and then the people around us are also being affected, some less than others, right? And look at the planets, we have birth charts, right?
Yes, we do.
So do businesses. So do organizations.
Oh, that's interesting.
So do groups, right? So when a business is incorporated, the date that it's incorporated, so the date that you sign those papers and they go in, that is its birth chart.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. So businesses can have birth charts.
Wow.
And if you've got a business that has a Scorpio rising and the business is very much Scorpio, they could have issues with, sex and with issues with, things that are coming up that are inappropriate or things that are right, that there's an overall
like sexual harassment lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly. There are some businesses that if you look at their chart, you went, no wonder they're going through this, right? When they have these major shifts, because who they are of the company engenders this sort of unconscious, subconscious culture. Right. That you may go, oh, this is the party group, business. And you look at when they were, gosh, they're always getting into trouble. And like, there's alcohol in this and all the time. And then you kind of look at the chart and you go, oh, no wonder. But then you can
Yeah.
help recognize that and shift it, right? But everything has a birth chart.
That is so interesting. I have a random question. If you're incorporating a business, is it smart or not so smart to incorporate during like a full or a new moon?
I would be more concerned with the sign that it's in,
Okay.
where the rising is, and the aspects to communication and money, right? Because you
Okay.
want your business to be successful, and you want to be able to communicate what you are sending out. So there are some companies that I've looked at their birth charts, and they could not communicate who they were, right?
Yeah.
After they launched their business, and it's a very well-known company. I won't say who it is, but they launched it, and we looked at their chart and we go, they're never going to hit like over $7 a share on the business, right? Because they incorporated Mercury in retrograde. So you cannot communicate who you are if you're going backward, right? If you can't put forward who you are. If you can't communicate. So if I'm in a communications company, or if I have a company communications dependent, I am not going to do that during Mercury retrograde, nor am I going to do it when there are confining aspects, negative aspects to Mercury, and then also to Venus, money, and Jupiter expansion. Right? Because you want to expand. So if you've got angles that are challenging, no. So we can, because it's not a birth of a baby, you kind of don't have a choice usually. You can go, all right, this is the day that I'm going to launch this business, and you do the best aspects that you can. And then, that sort of sets the trajectory, not meaning that, if I did it this time, everything's going to be wine and roses, right? But it sets you on a path that you can then, it's just another tool, right?
Yeah.
And something you can control a bit, right?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I did not, in all of the months we have talked on Astrologic, I didn't know that companies have birth charts. That is really fascinating.
Now, here's the interesting thing. A company can do something that we can't. You can reincorporate a company.
Oh.
So you can reincorporate and rebirth that company on another date. So if it's not doing well, you can reincorporate. Some companies had fabulous birth charts or business charts, right? And then they went, we're going to reincorporate in another state, and the business changed. Why? Because they reincorporated at a time that was not as good as the time that they incorporated. So you can do that. We can't do that, but we can then.
We can't be reborn.
We can. Well, yeah, right. Eventually, we can't. But what we can do then is take the aspects up to our birth chart, and when the aspects are really fortuitous for our chart, timing wise, then we action. Right. And we don't action at times that are challenging, because that awareness is super helpful, right? Health wise. Trying to get pregnant, having a medical procedure, when to get married, those things you can control.
Right.
Somebody says, well, my doctor wants to do X on a certain date. The bottom line is it's your body. You are your advocate. And if you say to the doctor, you know what, I want to do it on this date, as long as it's available, do it. I mean, it's your body.
Yeah.
Right. And that's key for anything, not even astrology. It's your body, and do things when you feel they're advantageous for you. Even if people don't understand what you're talking about, like, this is the day I want to have surgery. This is the day I want to do this procedure, or whatever it is. They don't totally, you don't have to sound like, my astrologer says, or somebody who knows astrology. No, it's like, this is the day I want to do it. And look, I want all that energy moving forward.
I actually consulted you when I was publishing my book. I said, hey, what's a good date between, now and this date? And you're like, 2 weeks from now. I'm like, wait, what? No. That is so fast.
I said, otherwise it was just going to be a really challenging time. I had a friend who wanted to put her house on the market. Look, nothing's guaranteed, but she said, when should I do it? And these are the dates around the time I want to do it. And I said, I said, okay, these are the dates I would do it. Look, I don't guarantee anything, because that's not me, right? Because, everything is, it's just giving you more positive energy forward, right? And so I said, these are the dates. And she goes, God, they're so far away. And I said, I think this is the first, this is the second, this is the third. And she said, Okay, fine. I'll do the later. I'll do the one because it had the best energy. She had like an offer on the house in 2 days and sold it in 3.
That's
so,
amazing.
It was so.
That is amazing.
It's all just, it's another tool.
Oh, thank you so much, Hamid, for being here. Yeah, if you have any questions for Susie, ask them away. We are here, or for me. And let's do a quick reading.
Oh,
and then you can tie in the reading into the reading for the full moon.
Everybody seems to do it anyway. They always pick a card that is really fortuitous.
So we're gonna pull a card from our Oracle card deck. It's called Your Heart Knows the Way, and the paintings on this are just stunning. So we'll pull a card, and so far every card we have pulled for the full moons and the new moons have been just spot on. We'll see if we can do another one that.
Right.
That's like a spot on message. We'll see.
It always seems to.
There are 52 cards in this deck, and all the paintings are by Los Angeles-based artist named Chris DeLorco. Fun fact about Chris DeLorco, you may or may not know, is that he worked for Disney for 15 years, and your favorite Disney posters are created by Chris.
I did not know this.
Yeah. So
Fascinating.
Little Mermaid, Sleeping Beauty, like every Disney poster essentially is created by Chris.
Amazing. I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast. Really, really, really cool. And then he went off and he did paintings like these. And then we got them for our Oracle card deck. All right,
That's
Susie.
amazing.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Okay.
Ooh. Surrender and be at peace.
Wow.
Let's show that card. It's so pretty. This is actually one of my favorite paintings. And I got a print of that for a friend of mine for her wedding. Surrender, and it's card number 30, and I'll read the text for you. The extended quote is, surrender to what is and be at peace. Are you unhappy with where you are in life? Do you feel that you've made a wrong turn and are now stuck in a reality not of your choosing? With your eyes fixed to the past, you've made a villain of today. You've said, if only I'd done something different. And you've speculated 1,000 outcomes you would have preferred to what you've actually lived. And in your state of displeasure, you've dismissed the beauty in your life. You've walked through gardens and seen nothing of the flowers around you. You've touched riches and not known what they were. This card reminds you, oh, and there's a doorbell. I'm going to get that real quick.
I'll get it.
Who was that?
It's Jerry.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Can you cut and
No, it's live.
Come on in. I brought my mask. I didn't know
We have a guest.
Yeah. Oh, look at here.
Hi, Jerry. We're
Susie,
live.
are you in the middle of
Live.
We're recording a live
real
real
quick.
quick.
Was saying, don't ring the bell. Text me when you get outside. I didn't see that. Sorry, I apologize. Are we on
No
the show
worries
now?
at all.
You are.
You're in. It's just live on 3 different. We have David Zucker and Jerry Zucker, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we get them in here for a little comedy. Yeah, appearance. Yeah. Okay. All right,
Okay, here
so-
we go. This card reminds you that where you are right now is exactly what you're meant to be.
Yep. Apparently.
Yep. There is no place you must go other than where you are at this moment. Today, stop your fixation on the past. Accept your current reality. Surrender to what is. Open your eyes and explore your current life. And as you do, notice the beauty that surrounds you. Give thanks for the blessings that you do have. This is how you realize that peace is an absence of resistance. Since the perfection in the present, see the perfection in the present moment and witness your suffering dissipate.
So that really sounds like what we started the new moon
Uh-huh.
with, Pisces, all of that, bringing up all that emotion.
Right.
And now is the time to let it out and deal with it. And, you know, so much about being in peace and being and the relationships
Mhm.
is what we are dealing with now, right? So
Yeah.
I think, I mean, this is spot on, and letting those things go
Mhm.
with the full moon and bringing things to surface is surrendering, right?
Yeah.
Recognizing, acknowledging, feeling it, not surrendering, but not surrendering into
Mhm.
something that's going to get you stuck, right? Or
Right,
something,
right.
something from your past that was challenging or upsetting.
Yeah.
You don't want to allow yourself to be buried in it, right?
Mhm.
So surrendering is an interesting term, right?
Yeah.
Because there can be surrender, I give up,
Yeah.
or surrendering, allowing, and then letting it go and
Yeah.
and being done with it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I see surrendering as just this letting go that you're talking about. It's accepting what is. Something is coming up to the surface, accepting it as what it is, and then allowing it to be released. You
Right.
know, because when we fight something that's coming up, you know, that's when we cling on to it, you know, like without wanting to, you know, we just kind of like get attached to it, or we attach it to ourselves, we hook into it,
Right.
you know. But just that softening up, that it's coming up to be released. It's
Right.
not coming up to make you suffer. It's coming up to be released. And just knowing that is so powerful.
Right.
And it eliminates that resistance that keeps things stuck.
Right.
We have a comment. How come no one is watching you? You're watching. Thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. You know,
Yeah.
but you know, the surrendering is can be a really triggering word for people, right? But it's not, you know, and I want to emphasize that surrendering, it's like when people say you're surrendering to something, right? Like you're surrendering to your diagnosis, or right? It's not about surrendering and giving up,
Right.
right? It's about surrendering to fighting the awareness, you know, the reality of what is there.
Yeah.
Because once you surrender and you allow it, then you take some of its power away.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we can't go anywhere if we don't accept where we are.
Right.
You know, it's like and this is the thing, it's like, as long as we are not accepting the present moment, or what is present in this moment, you know, it's almost like madness. We can't, we don't know what's then around us. Then we don't know how to create anything that we prefer in our present moment, right? It's like, I have blinders on and I want to clean my house. I can't do it. It's impossible. I have to have my eyes open. I have to look at the mess. I have to acknowledge it. And I have to kind of say, okay, I can clean this up. This is what I need to do to clean this up.
Right. And then how you do that cleaning up and not letting it overwhelm you, right? This mess of whatever it is,
right?
You know, and it's just breaking it down in bite-sized pieces, right?
Right.
Sort of just listing it out, right? Because that's the key. You can't, you know, it's little steps. You can't look at a task, one big giant thing. It's overwhelming. But if you can break that task down,
right,
then it's less painful, less upsetting, less overwhelming, right? And then you can move on with it. And the big thing to understand is that just because you haven't solved this gigantic mess the first time you go out to tackle it does not mean you're failing, you're a failure, you didn't do it. It means you started. Not starting it is the problem, right?
You started.
Right. And that's really important. You know, it's like I had this laundry list of things to do. But if I don't tackle one of them, then I haven't done anything. But if I haven't tackled all 10, it doesn't mean I failed and I didn't do what I was doing. No, I got like 4 done, right? Yeah. Or even 2. Great. Because that's 2 that you didn't have done before. Right. So when you look at it, it's not how far do we have to go? It's what have I done? Right. I used to lead kids on a hike, and we do a certain amount of miles, and it would be like, how much longer would we have to go? And I'd say, well, you have gone 5 miles already, right? Look at how much you've succeeded. We've already gone 5 miles. I'm not going to tell them I got 10 more to go, right? But I'm going to say, look what you've done so far, right? Look what you've done so far. How much longer? I said, we've been hiking for 4 hours, right? Well, it wasn't that long, but hey, might as well have been to them, and it was a large group of kids and they were teenagers. And it was like, how much farther do we have to go? And instead of emphasizing on, you still have this ahead of you, I said, look how much you've accomplished thus far. Yeah. And that's the point. It's not how much you haven't done. It's how much you've done.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
That's the key with anything, right? Oh, I just started cleaning the garage, and look how much I have to do. Yeah, but look how much you've done.
Yeah. I absolutely love it. Susie, what final advice do you have for those watching for this full moon in Libra? It's happening on the 28th. Right. So that everybody can prepare themselves and they can show up in their power, essentially.
Right. So, when I was looking at the chart, the one thing that I noticed right now is that the moon and Mercury and our North Node, where we are going, right, have this, there's some aspects right now, specifically with the North Node and Mercury. So there's a little bit of moving forward communication kind of challenges. Okay. Right. So all we have to do is be mindful of the fact that we have some potential challenges with communication, which is tech, personal, within something, anything that communicates, talks to each other, how it communicates, whether it's verbally or body systems or whatever, technology, huge, right? If there's some challenges with that, just understand that and own it and go, okay, great. So there might be some challenges. Great. I'm not going to get stressed out. I'm not going to get upset. Yes. I'm just going to strategize and move around it and within it. And so when things are right. So if you find yourself coming up against things like that, you go, okay, all right, great. So my computer is doing issues, or it's not communicating, or the emails I'm sending are just not sending the message. Okay, stop, walk away.
Or maybe you said something and it got totally misunderstood.
Yeah. I mean, right. And it's specifically right now with our North Node, so where we're sort of the peaks, so kind of where we're moving. So it's like, all right, so in that direction, I'm just going to breathe and go and just understand that I just have to be mindful of what I'm saying or how things are going. And this too shall pass. Right. Right. It's not a long transit because the moon moves very quickly. Right. Great. So that's it. So in terms of the full moon, rituals are always great, right? They're great anytime. Anytime we want to clean, cleanse, sage, bathe, Himalayan salts, just anything to just sort of open us up and also give us a little time just to think. And I think because it's Libra and it's all air thinking, right? That, more mindfulness, on that particular day, a meditation, and just even look, as you have taught me, meditation isn't necessarily sitting there and going, I can't keep everything out of my head, right? It's just, sitting there and being present, right? Being super present, specifically around that, Friday night, Saturday, just being sort of really, really present and, spending some time just honoring your relationships and your relationship with yourself, right? Because that's a relationship too. Right.
I love that. Honoring your relationship with yourself. And then if those emotions do come up, just surrendering and letting them pass through you, flow through you.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep things in, don't keep things bottled up. It's never good to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Because then it sits on you and fester. If it's on your mind, if it's in there, let it out, write it out. We're talking about thinking and doing, writing it out. And then my go-to is write it and burn it outside in a safe area, but physically burn it and watch it burn and send off to the universe and say, thank you. Yeah. I'm done with the lesson. And I'm moving forward, and I'm going to just let the universe transmute it, and you're done.
I love it.
Just kind of watching it up. So I just love watching it as the smoke just goes done. And it's like an action, right?
Yeah.
It's not that you're writing is one action, here to the paper. Burning it is yet another action.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it just lets it go.
And then releasing it and surrendering it and letting it go.
Right.
And if you want to grab your own deck of our oracle cards, Your Heart Knows the Way. They are absolutely stunning. They are on Amazon. And if you're on Amazon, they're linked to this live over here. And they're really just beautiful, deep, heart-opening messages. They're inspired by the Rumi quote that says, your task is not to seek for love, but to seek and remove the barriers against it. So
That's lovely.
so every card identifies basically a barrier you have against, you've built that is keeping love from flowing through your heart. And then it gives you some tools on how to unclog. And then another quick little announcement. I've been reading this novel, my novel, The 13th Planet, on Facebook and on Instagram. So if you want to hear me read to you, you can hop on over to Facebook. You can add me on Facebook, or you can actually, the videos are public, so you can watch them. Or you can go to Instagram and look through IGTVs. We are 3 chapters in. So I'll be reading one more chapter today. I'm reading a chapter a day until we get through this beautiful book over here. It's science fiction. It's a spiritual book disguised as science fiction. Lots of end of the world fun action happening here, and alien human romance. Who doesn't love that?
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a little chat magic right there, right?
That's right. Yeah.
How do you communicate with an alien?
If you're gonna fall in love, well, you might as well fall in love with an alien.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? So hop on over to Instagram, follow me, and you can be notified when I go live, or you can do it on Facebook, and you can catch up on some of those videos and then listen to me read to you every single day for the next 37 days.
Amazing.
Yeah, pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. So, love you guys. What final words do we have?
Relationships. Lead from the heart, balance it, right?
Yes.
Right. Stay in your own
Libra.
power, right? Stay in your
Mhm.
own power and make those decisions and take them and just go for it, right?
That's right.
Don't question.
Yeah. Trust yourself.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
always good advice. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of Astrologic. We will be back for the new moon in just a couple of weeks from now. And and we'll just keep doing these for fun because they're fun.
Yeah. It's nice. It's fun. Get out there.
That's
All
right.
right. Wonderful. Take care.
Sending you loads of love. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Oh my God. I got something in my eye about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, no.